What if I told you the fastest way to make him think about you is to stop trying to make him think about you? The more you chase his attention, the easier you become to forget. Today, you'll discover why silence can create more attraction than 100 perfectly written texts, and how to stay on his mind without sending a single message. If you're enjoying this video and you're ready to build attraction through confidence instead of chasing, take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Every week, you'll discover practical relationship insights that help you attract healthy attention, build genuine confidence, and create stronger connections without losing yourself. Now, let's continue. Have you ever noticed how the more available someone becomes, the less exciting they sometimes seem? It's not because they aren't kind, attractive, or interesting. It's because constant availability removes the natural sense of curiosity that keeps attraction alive. One of the biggest mistakes people make is rewarding inconsistent behavior with instant attention. If he disappears for 2 days and you answer within 10 seconds the moment he finally reaches out, you're quietly teaching him that your time will always be waiting for him, no matter how little effort he invests. That isn't about playing hard to get. It's about showing that your life doesn't stop every time his phone lights up. Healthy attraction grows when two people respect each other's time. If he's genuinely busy once in a while, that's normal. Life gets hectic. But if inconsistency becomes a pattern while you continue giving immediate access to your attention, the balance slowly shifts. He begins to expect your availability instead of appreciating it. The excitement of earning your attention fades because he already assumes it's guaranteed. Think about the people you naturally value most. They're often individuals with meaningful lives, personal goals, hobbies, friendships, and responsibilities. Their attention feels valuable because it's given intentionally, not automatically. You can create that same feeling by protecting your own time. Instead of dropping everything to reply, finish what you're doing. Enjoy your workout, focus on your work, spend time with friends, or simply relax. When you do respond, do it because it fits your schedule, not because anxiety convinced you that waiting would make him lose interest. This approach also changes something even more important than his perception of you. It changes your relationship with yourself. Instead of constantly checking your phone, wondering when he'll respond, your attention returns to your own life. Confidence begins to replace uncertainty because your happiness is no longer tied to the next notification. Ironically, that's often when people become the most attractive. They stop seeking validation and start living with purpose. The goal isn't to create distance for the sake of manipulation or to make someone chase you through silence. The goal is to build a relationship where effort is mutual and attention is earned through genuine interest. When someone realizes your time has value because you value it first, they're far more likely to approach you with consistency, respect, and real curiosity. That's the kind of attention worth keeping. One of the most powerful ways to stay in someone's mind has nothing to do with your phone. It has everything to do with the life you build when they aren't around. Many people believe that attraction grows by constantly staying connected, sending updates throughout the day, or making sure they're never out of sight. But the opposite is often true. A person who is deeply engaged in their own life naturally becomes more interesting because they have experiences, passions, and stories that can't be manufactured through endless conversations. Imagine spending every day waiting for his next message. Your mood rises when he texts and drops when he doesn't. Over time, your world becomes centered around his attention. That pressure is something people can often sense, even if you never say it out loud. Now imagine something different. You wake up excited about your own goals. Maybe you're learning a new skill, improving your health, growing your career, traveling, reading books, or spending meaningful time with friends and family. Suddenly, your happiness no longer depends on whether your phone vibrates. You become someone who brings positive energy into every interaction because your life is already full. There's something incredibly attractive about a person who has purpose. They don't need someone else to create excitement because they're already creating it for themselves. That doesn't mean you're too busy for a relationship. It means your relationship becomes an addition to your happiness instead of its foundation. That's a very different different energy, and people notice it. When you do spend time together, your conversations become richer. Instead of talking only about each other, you have fresh experiences to share. You have opinions shaped by learning, funny moments from your day, and personal achievements you're proud of. These memories stay with people because they connect your presence with inspiration, confidence, and growth. The beautiful part is that you don't build an exciting life to impress him. You build it because you deserve one. If he notices, that's a bonus. If he becomes curious about what you're doing, that's natural. But even if he doesn't, you've already won because you've created a life that fulfills you regardless of anyone else's attention. Ironically, when someone sees that your world doesn't revolve around them, they often begin wondering how they can become a meaningful part of it. Curiosity grows where confidence lives, and confidence grows when your life is filled with purpose, joy, and experiences that make every day worth living. People rarely remember every conversation they have, but they almost always remember how someone made them feel. That's why if you truly want to stay in his mind without sending any texts, your focus shouldn't be on creating constant communication. It should be on creating meaningful emotional moments whenever you're together. Long after the words are forgotten, the feeling remains. And it's often that feeling that keeps someone thinking about you when you're not around. Think about the people you've never forgotten. Chances are it wasn't because they messaged you every hour. It was because being around them felt different. Maybe they made you laugh until your stomach hurt. Maybe they listened without judging you. Maybe they made you feel calm, understood, or completely accepted. Those experiences leave a lasting impression because emotions are much stronger than ordinary conversations. When you're with him, be fully present. Put away the urge to think about what comes next or how to impress him. Pay attention to what he's saying. Ask thoughtful questions. Laugh freely when something is funny. Share stories that reveal who you are instead of trying to become the person you think he wants. Authenticity creates emotional safety, and emotional safety is incredibly memorable. Another powerful habit is ending interactions on a positive note. You don't always have to stretch a date or conversation until there's nothing left to say. Sometimes leaving while the energy is still high creates a lasting emotional echo. He walks away smiling instead of feeling emotionally exhausted. That final feeling often becomes the memory he carries into the following days. Small moments matter more than grand gestures. A genuine compliment that feels personal, a shared joke that only the two of you understand, a warm smile at the right moment, or simply making someone feel seen can stay in their mind far longer than expensive gifts or dramatic displays of affection. These are the experiences people replay because they feel real. The goal isn't to manufacture unforgettable moments or force someone to think about you. The goal is to become someone whose presence naturally leaves people feeling happier, lighter, and more connected than they did before. When your presence consistently brings peace, laughter, encouragement, and authenticity, you don't have to remind him that you exist. His own memories will do that for you because meaningful emotions have a way of returning long after the moment has passed. Mystery is one of the most misunderstood ideas in dating. Many people think it means acting cold, hiding your feelings, or pretending not to care. In reality, true mystery has nothing to do with manipulation. It comes from the simple fact that no one should have instant access to every thought, every plan, and every moment of your life. When someone can predict everything about you, curiosity slowly disappears. But when they continue discovering new parts of who you are over time, interest has room to grow. Think about meeting someone who tells you their entire life story on the first date. At first, it might seem refreshing because they're open and honest, but after a while, there isn't much left to discover. Compare that to someone who shares naturally, allowing their personality to unfold through different conversations and experiences. Every meeting reveals something new. Maybe it's a passion they never mentioned before, a childhood memory that shaped hype them, or a hidden talent that surprises you. That gradual discovery keeps the connection exciting because it feels like you're getting to know a real person layer by layer. The same idea applies outside of conversations. You don't need to post every activity online or immediately tell him everything you're doing throughout the day. If you spent the weekend trying something new, let it come up naturally the next time you talk instead of broadcasting every detail in real time. This isn't about creating secrets. It's about allowing your life to have moments that aren't instantly available for everyone to see. Confidence also plays a huge role in mystery. Confident people don't rush to explain themselves or seek constant reassurance. They're comfortable with silence. They're comfortable allowing conversations to breathe. They don't feel pressured to fill every quiet moment with words because they know their value isn't measured by how much they say. That doesn't mean becoming distant or emotionally unavailable. Healthy relationships are built on honesty, openness, and trust. The difference is timing. You share because the relationship is growing naturally, not because you're afraid that holding back a little will make someone lose interest. There's a quiet confidence in letting things unfold at their own pace. The most memorable people aren't mysterious because they're playing games. They're memorable because they have depth. Every conversation reveals another piece of who they are, making you look forward to discovering what's next. That kind of mystery doesn't create confusion. It creates genuine curiosity, and curiosity is one of the strongest reasons someone keeps thinking about you long after you've gone home. One of the biggest shifts you can make in your dating life is realizing that your attention is valuable. Too many people treat their time as if it has no value, giving it away the moment someone asks for it. They rearrange their schedules, cancel plans with friends, and become instantly available every time the person they like reaches out. At first, this may seem like a sign of interest or commitment, but over time, it often sends a very different message. It quietly tells the other person that your world revolves around them. The truth is, people naturally appreciate things that have value. That doesn't mean you should become difficult or unavailable just to make someone chase you. It means recognizing that your time, energy, and attention are limited resources. When you protect them, other people are more likely to respect them as well. Imagine receiving a message while you're enjoying dinner with friends or working toward an important goal. You don't have to interrupt your life to reply immediately. Finish what you're doing, be present where you are, then respond when it genuinely fits your schedule. This simple habit communicates something powerful without saying a single word. It shows that you have priorities, responsibilities, and a life that matters to you. Protecting your attention also means paying close attention to where your emotional energy goes. If you spend every hour wondering why he hasn't replied or analyzing every message he sends, you're investing far more than he may even realize. That emotional investment can leave you feeling exhausted and anxious. Instead, redirect that energy toward activities that strengthen your confidence. Read a book, learn a new skill, exercise, spend time with loved ones, or work on goals that make you proud of yourself. Ironically, when you stop making someone the center of your attention, you often become more attractive in their eyes. Why? Because confidence is visible. A person who values their own time doesn't appear desperate for validation. They enjoy connection, but they don't depend on it for their happiness. The healthiest relationships are built when both people choose to invest in each other instead of one person doing all the giving. When your attention is offered as a genuine choice rather than an automatic reaction, it feels more meaningful. People remember those who respect themselves enough to protect their time because that quiet confidence creates a lasting impression that no amount of constant texting ever could. If you want to stay in his mind long after you've said goodbye, don't focus on becoming perfect. Focus on becoming memorable. Those are two completely different goals. Many people spend so much energy trying to say the right thing, wear the perfect outfit, or avoid every possible mistake that they end up hiding the very qualities that make them unique. The truth is, people don't usually remember perfection. They remember authenticity. They remember the person who was comfortable enough to be themselves. Confidence is one of the most attractive qualities because it makes others feel comfortable around you. A confident confident person doesn't constantly seek approval or worry about whether every word was impressive enough. They express their thoughts honestly, laugh without holding back, and accept that they don't have to impress everyone they meet. That relaxed energy is refreshing because it allows genuine connection to happen naturally. Being emotionally memorable also means making other people feel seen. When you're talking with him, don't spend the entire conversation thinking about what you'll say next. Listen carefully. Notice the little things he shares. Remember details that matter to him. Ask thoughtful questions because you're genuinely interested, not because you're trying to create the perfect impression. People often forget clever conversations, but they rarely forget how someone made them feel valued and understood. Another part of confidence is accepting your imperfections. You don't need to apologize for every small mistake or explain every awkward moment. Sometimes the moments that feel imperfect are actually the ones that make you seem the most real. A genuine laugh after saying something silly, admitting you don't know something, or sharing an honest opinion creates trust because it shows you're not pretending to be someone else. Most importantly, stop measuring your worth by how often he texts, compliments you, or asks to see you. Your confidence should come from the relationship you have with yourself. When you know your own value, you don't chase constant reassurance. You enjoy his attention when it's there, but you don't panic when it isn't. That emotional stability is incredibly attractive because it creates a sense of peace instead of pressure. People carry memories of those who leave them feeling accepted, inspired, and comfortable enough to be themselves. When your confidence comes from authenticity instead of performance, you don't have to force your way into someone's thoughts. Your genuine presence naturally becomes something they remember, because real confidence leaves a deeper impression than any carefully planned attempt to seem perfect ever could. One of the hardest things to do when you genuinely like someone is to give them space. Every instinct tells you to keep the conversation going, send another message, or find another reason to stay connected. It feels safer because silence can create uncertainty. But here's the surprising truth. Sometimes the space between two people is exactly what allows attraction to grow. If someone never has the opportunity to miss you, they also never have the opportunity to fully appreciate your presence. Think about your favorite song. If it played every minute of every day, eventually you would stop noticing it, not because the song became worse, but because constant exposure removes its impact. Relationships can work in a similar way. When every spare moment is filled with messages, updates, and endless conversations, there's very little room for anticipation. The excitement of wondering what you're doing or looking forward to the next conversation begins to disappear. Giving someone space doesn't mean becoming distant or pretending you don't care. It simply means trusting that a healthy connection doesn't need constant reassurance to survive. If you've shared a great conversation or enjoyed a wonderful date, let that experience settle. Resist the urge to immediately recreate the feeling through non-stop texting. Allow the positive emotions from your time together to linger instead of replacing them with endless communication. This habit also protects your emotional well-being. Instead of spending every free moment checking your phone, you return your attention to your own life. You continue working toward your goals, enjoying your hobbies, spending time with friends, and creating experiences that make you happy. Ironically, this not only strengthens your confidence, but also makes your next interaction more meaningful because you have something fresh to share. Space also reveals something important. It allows both people to discover whether the interest is genuine. If you're always the one keeping the conversation alive, it's difficult to know whether he truly wants to invest in the connection. When you step back occasionally, you create room for him to move towards you if his interest is real. That's not a game. It's simply allowing the relationship to develop with balanced effort instead of one person carrying all the responsibility. The strongest connections aren't built by holding on tightly every moment of the day. They're built by two people who enjoy being together while also respecting each other's independence. When someone has the chance to wonder about you, remember your laughter, and miss your presence, your absence begins to work alongside your presence. And sometimes that quiet space says far more than another text ever could. At the end of the day, the biggest mistake people make is believing they have to stay constantly visible to remain important in someone's life. They think if they stop texting, stop checking in, or stop finding reasons to appear, they'll be forgotten. But that's not how lasting attraction works. People don't stay in your mind because they were always there. They stay in your mind because they left an impression that couldn't easily be replaced. That's why your goal should never be to become impossible to ignore. Your goal should be to become impossible to forget. Being unforgettable isn't about having the perfect appearance, saying clever lines, or creating dramatic moments. It's about consistently showing qualities that people genuinely value, kindness that feels sincere, confidence that doesn't need to prove itself, a sense of humor that makes difficult days lighter, emotional maturity that brings peace instead of confusion. These are the qualities that stay with people long after the conversation ends. When you're focused on becoming unforgettable, your mindset changes completely. Instead of asking, "Why hasn't he texted me?" you begin asking, "Am I living a life that I'm proud of?" Instead of wondering how to get his attention, you think about how to become the best version of yourself. That shift is powerful because it places your happiness back where it belongs, in your own hands. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending you don't care. It means refusing to let someone else's actions determine your self-worth. If he reaches out, wonderful. If he doesn't, your life continues moving forward with purpose. You keep growing, learning, laughing, and creating experiences that make you feel fulfilled. Ironically, that's often when people become the most attractive. They stop chasing validation and start radiating quiet confidence. People naturally remember those who leave them feeling inspired. They remember the person who listened without judging, smiled with genuine warmth, respected themselves, and made every interaction feel easy rather than stressful. Those memories don't disappear because a few days pass without a message. They remain because they were built on something deeper than constant communication. So if you truly want to stay in his head without sending any texts, stop asking how often he thinks about you and start asking how fully you're living your own life. A person with purpose, confidence, kindness, and self-respect doesn't need to force their way into someone's thoughts. Their presence creates memories, and those memories have a remarkable way of returning when they're least expected. That's what makes someone genuinely unforgettable. So if there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this. The goal is never to make someone obsessed with you. The goal is to become someone whose presence naturally leaves a lasting impression. You don't stay in his mind by sending more texts, chasing more attention, or wondering what he's thinking every hour of the day. You stay in his mind by living a life that is full, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling on its own. When you stop rewarding inconsistency, protect your time, create genuine emotional moments, allow curiosity to grow naturally, and build confidence from within, something powerful happens. You stop trying to convince someone of your value because your actions already reflect it. Attraction becomes less about strategy and more about the energy you bring into every interaction. Remember, healthy relationships are built on mutual interest, mutual effort, and mutual respect. If you're always the one doing the chasing, you're carrying a relationship that should be carried by two people. But when you step back, value yourself, and allow space for someone to meet you halfway, you create the opportunity for a connection that feels balanced, effortless, and real. Never underestimate the power of a happy, confident person who knows their worth. Someone who has goals, passions, meaningful friendships, and a life they genuinely enjoy will always be more memorable than someone who makes another person the center of their universe. Confidence isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It quietly earns respect. So the next time you're tempted to send that unnecessary text just to remind him you exist, Pause for a moment. Instead, remind yourself who you are. Invest in your dreams. Spend time with people who lift you up. Learn something new. Create memories that have nothing to do with your phone. Because the most attractive version of you isn't the one waiting for a reply. It's the one living a life so rich and fulfilling that anyone who meets you can't help but remember you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this reminder today. And remember, the strongest attraction begins the moment you stop chasing approval and start choosing yourself every single day. I'll see you in the next video.